From Fox 8 Sports, this is the Overtime Podcast.
From the Fox 8 studios in New Orleans, the Fox 8 Overtime Podcast. I'm Vasilios. That is Sean Fazende. Remember to like, subscribe, rate, and review. You guys can find us wherever you listen to and watch your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the little bell button right there. You get notified every time we upload a new podcast. Sean, it is once again, after a long while, a Victory Monday. Well, not after a long while. It was a Victory Monday last week, but
we'll take it.
We'll take it. It's for the first win streak Monday in a long while.
And
let's go with that.
Some time. Happy Monday, Victory Monday, Black and Gold Monday in the city of New Orleans as they took care of business against the New York Football Giants. But like Sil said, be sure to like, share, rate, review. Let us know how much you agree with everything we say in the comment section, because I know you do, especially after today's podcast, what we're going to get into. And we enjoy the banter back and forth.
Yes,
but we're talking Saints win today, Victory Monday. But we're going to have a quick turn. But we still have to digest and process their victory over the Giants. Sil.
All right, Victory Monday number 7, as in win number 7 for your New Orleans Saints. They are back at 500. Sean Fazende, big picture right now for the 7-7, 500 New Orleans Saints.
All right. Well, the big picture is this. The 3-game December homestand is now over. We called it. 7-7 was what it felt like. 7-7 was what it had to be. You would have liked to have gotten to 8-6, but 7-7 was the minimum. They got there. Last week was ugly, but it counted. This week was much more complete. Offense, defense, special teams. The Saints were clearly the better team over the Giants. They were well prepared. They were well coached. And they looked as dialed in and as focused as they've looked all season long. They have now successfully, as rigid and as disjointed and as ugly and as frustrating as it has looked pretty much all season, they have given themselves a chance. And now there are 2 paths to the playoffs. It's not just you got to win your division. We'll see what happens with the Eagles tonight and Seahawks, which I guess could impact some of the standings. But you have a legit shot at the 4 seed, the 6 seed, or the 7 seed based off where you currently stand at 7-7. And I know this season has been frustrating, but here they are at 7-7. But I'm not going to try to trick you. I'm not going to try to trick you. I'm not going to try to trick all of you. You know, I know, Sil, you know.
I know.
This team has done this before. You already know. You already know this is the 3rd time this team has won 2 straight games this season. You already know they have never made it to a 3rd straight win at all this season, despite 3 different opportunities. I guess this is opportunity number 3 coming today. So, had they done that at any point in the prior 2 earlier this season, maybe we'd have a much different tone about this season as a whole. It didn't happen. It's never happened. On Thursday, they will have a chance to make it happen for the first time this season. Can they do it? Can they flip the narrative? Can they handle success? Can they not relax and maintain that same sense of focus and urgency? And they just looked so dialed in yesterday. And they looked a little like, after the game, like I think some of the frustration in the stands over the last couple of weeks, I think it got to them a little bit in terms of it motivated them, because they were a little chippy when it came to that sort of push-pull relationship after the game, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with. I mean, this is high stakes, and this is professionals at work, and we're all in it. We're covering it. They're playing it. The fans are spending their money. That is what it is. It's high stakes. It is big boy football. So here they are, 7-7, with a chance. Will they take that chance, or will they take advantage of that opportunity? We'll see. But the reality is, fair is fair. They're 7-7, a tie for top, first place in the NFC South, and they still played 2 teams in the NFC South in a couple of weeks, plus a Thursday night game against another 7-7 team against the LA Rams. So everything you want is still there. And if I could go really glass half full, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just describe it. Is there a chance this team could be inching upward. I'm not going to go there. Why? Like I just said, because they've teased us before with their inconsistent ways.
Yeah.
So, look, I enjoy it, appreciate it. I think some people are a little bit frustrated, but I think deep down, we had this pod was it last week?
Mm-hmm.
I think deep down, they want their team to make the postseason. They do.
Yeah.
I think deep down, you want this. You would much rather your team get into the postseason and at least have a chance than not make it at all. Now I know if they keep winning, you're not going to get the changes that you want, and I think that's true. But here they are at 7-7, and there's still a significant portion of the season left. That's why you can't check out too soon, because they have 3 games left, and who knows which way they're going to go. We called it last week. We tried to predict the last 4 games. You were wrong on the Giants.
I was
is that correct?
wrong on the Giants game.
Just want to make sure I said it again. You were wrong on the Giants. Okay. I predicted the victory over the Giants. It felt like it was the most winnable game, and I didn't like the Thursday matchup. I still don't like the Thursday matchup. And then Tampa, and then I said 8-9. We'll see where they go. I don't know what that would do. Maybe they'll do better. Maybe they won't. But the first leg of that 4-game stand, they got the W, and so the worst they'll be is 7-10. So we'll see how it all plays out down the stretch in these final 3 games of the season.
Speaking of success, Derek Carr didn't have such a bad day yesterday against the New York Giants. What did you make of his day against Big Blue, Sean?
All right. Well, first things first, because I took a lot of heat for this. I say a lot of heat. It's comments. It's not heat. It's disagreement. So I apologize for that. Can we all agree he wasn't healthy against Carolina? That was so obvious to me.
Yeah, I thought that was.
People were like, I think I was giving him a pass. It was obvious that he looked like he looked against Tampa Bay. It was obvious he was not healthy. He hinted as much in the week leading up to, obviously, Sunday's game against Carolina. So can we all just agree to that? I think Derek Carr played his best game in black and gold. Have you changed your opinion at all of him? Are you starting to warm up to him at all? That's the question I have for those listening or watching right now. I have, for risk of being called a Carr defender or Carr apologist, I just haven't been nearly as down on Carr as others have been. But even I wanted to see it. I needed to see it, like that game, that performance. I mean, he's had some spurts here and there, but I just never felt like he had that game where you walked off and you felt like that's why they signed him. I think it finally happened Sunday against the Giants. Stats won't wow you, but you can watch that game and see. 218 yards is certainly nothing. It's not going to wow you stat-wise, but he was in complete command, complete control. He was just very clean, decisive, accurate, efficient. 23 completions to 10 different receivers. That's Breeze-esque. That's Breeze-esque.
Ooh.
And he operated the offense
some flack for that
very
in the
smooth. I
comments.
mean, that's what he did. I mean, that's what Breeze did the first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years he was here. That is what they envisioned when they signed him. I mean, I remember distinctly talking to Dennis Allen at the NFL owners meetings, and he tried to be careful with his words, but he said, we want a guy that's kind of operated a little similar to the way Drew has done it. And obviously Derek has not done that all year, but I thought against, at least for one, in a very small window against the Giants in a couple different ways, he was pretty effective, and he did some things that certainly made you believe what the Saints saw in him. He finally was able to show it. Now, it's a shame it has taken so long to get to, quote-unquote, that game, but let's be fair. It's been a work in progress. We know that, but he's been knocked out of 3 games. The fan base is like straight up venom and hatred. Has gotten like legit uncomfortable and awkward at times. I mean, they gave him the Anthony Davis treatment when Anthony Davis comes in town with another team where they just boo him every time he touched the ball. I mean, don't forget that against Detroit. I mean, your starting quarterback was getting booed every time he ran onto the field. It ain't easy to overcome that. I don't care how mentally strong you are. It ain't easy to overcome that. Plus, look, like I said, he's been knocked out of 3 games. Still hasn't missed a start. And I'll be curious what your thoughts are. Mm-hmm. All the 3 games he got knocked out of, they ended up losing. They had a comfortable lead in the first one. They were down big in the second one. And then they were kind of in the verge of a comeback on the third one. What do you think their record is if he doesn't get knocked out of those 3 games?
That's tough. I say 9 and 5.
No, yeah, okay. I mean, I'll give you that, but I say 9, 8 and 6. I don't know if they complete the comeback against Detroit. They weren't beating Minnesota. No. I think absolutely 1,000% they beat Green Bay. To me, that's the only game this season where the outcome didn't necessarily match who deserved to win that game. So he's battled for his guys. And you know, it's funny. I was looking up and I saw there's some backup quarterback, again, at the time of this taping where the game is going on and Monday Night Football hadn't started yet, but there was some talk about Jalen Hurts possibly missing the game or Geno Smith possibly missing the game. I think Drew Lock maybe even playing right now. But regardless, look around the league and how many backup quarterbacks have played. And, you know, look.
Having mild success.
Whether or not you like it or not, I mean, Carr has been available and he started every game. And hopefully, like the rest of the team, you can't get overly excited about this because I need to see it more than just 1 week. I need to see it more than just sporadically. I want to see it like, okay, that's the guy, and that's the guy that this is who they signed. This is what they want. This is what they wanted out of him. And you have an opportunity to finish out this thing pretty strong against a couple of teams. It's going to be hard, but there are winnable games. So I thought Derek Carr, his best game in black and gold, but like the rest of the team, string a few together and make a push into the postseason.
All right, so as we try to do every Monday, we got some fan questions submitted using the Final Word feature on the Final Play app. Also, feel free to ask us questions in the comments of each video, and we'll try to respond to as many as we can. This first one comes from Chuck in Ponchatoula. Will the NFL ever add a quick video ref to assist on-field refs on obvious missed calls, like the illegal hit called on Alontae Taylor that led to 3 Giants points? Sean?
I don't know. I mean, look, I just know that was a terrible call. That's a guy that's twice his size. I mean, Alontae Taylor's like 190 pounds. He was like up against a tight end that's probably like 250. It squared up and hit him. Got him with his shoulder. He didn't dive into him. He didn't spear him. He didn't go helmet to helmet. And, you know, it's a bang play on the edge there, and it's a long third down conversion that team is not converting. It's such a consequential call, and it almost felt like the refs were going off reaction there. Like he got hit so hard, it was like, oh, that had to have been a penalty. When you really watched it, I wish there was an opportunity to. I guess he used to be able to challenge no calls. I wish there was an opportunity for obvious ones like that that someone could step in, but I don't see that happening. If it does, great. I just know Alontae Taylor, he got robbed on that one because that was a great play, a great tackle on the edge, and it should have forced a punt. Instead, it extended a drive that led to a field goal that made the game 7-6. So you're talking about a pretty consequential call, and but if you're the Saints, you got to battle through that. It's going to happen in a game. You got to battle through and finish off the drive the way you started it. They weren't able to do that, but it was a terrible call. I felt like that. Deuce and I talked about this after the game. I felt like that's when the crowd slowly started to kind of twist back to a little bit more with what I'm used to, accustomed to inside the Superdome. It's like, oh, no, that's our guys. Like the fans weren't turned on them. The crowd split wasn't nearly as bad as the Lions game, but there were a few boos early on in the game. I mean, it's like right out of the gate boos. But after the first touchdown and after that call in particular, it felt like the energy shifted, and it was like, no. This is our dome crowd again, and it felt, no, it certainly wasn't electric, but I did feel like it was better than, say, the Detroit game. And, like, the Carolina game was just weird because Carolina was so bad and no one was there. But it felt like the energy got a little bit better in that game against the Giants.
All right, this next question from Big T in Algiers. Why did it take so long for the Saints to get sacks and put pressure on the opposing quarterback?
That's a great question. They've got 11 over the last 2 weeks. They certainly have invested a lot in the pass rush and the defensive line and the offensive line for that matter. It has been a huge disappointment. But I think 2 things have emerged in the last couple of weeks. A, you played horrible teams. We know that. But they played horrible offensive lines throughout the season. They never had 7 sacks in a game like they did Sunday. 2 things have emerged. Brian Brzee, the rookie, is steadily getting better. Okay, getting up the field, pass rush from the interior. And the other thing, it's pretty substantial, is now your third down sub pass rusher on the edge is no longer Cam Jordan. at least for the time being, it is now Zach Bond, which is what he did at Wisconsin. I mean, they tried to make that guy a stack off the ball linebacker. It was fine to try it after year 1, but by year 4, it's not going to happen. So his skill set is that he can get up the field. He's not as big as they like on the edge like that. He's 2.5, 6'3", like 240 instead of the 6'5", 270 that they like. But he bent that corner quite a bit, and there were a couple of times he didn't get a sack, but he was the first guy back there that caused the chaos for Tommy DeVito, and I think Tano got one, may have gotten 2, where Baum was the first guy back there. He just missed the sack, but someone else was able to get it. So his presence was there. So those are the 2 things that I've seen emerge. But if that can stay, that's huge for some kind of push down the stretch that can get tangibly better that had fallen apart, where you all of a sudden that would help the product as a whole in terms of winning games. But look, the margin for error is very slim, and the margin between winning and losing is very slim. So if you can get a better pass rush this late, I think that would be very, very good for this team. But again, we got to see it past Carolina and New York. We got to see it into this week.
All right, and then this final question comes from Oliver and Plaquemine. After that impressive win, can the Saints now make a run?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Let's look at what's next. You're 7-7. Again, I don't know what the 7 seed in the NFC, what record that's going to be. Is it 9-8? Is it 8-9? You'd love to run the table and get to 10-7 and get that. Would probably be the 4 seed, right? For the NFC South winner.
Yeah.
Or Minnesota's kind of slipping a little bit. You play LA this week. How many would you have to get into the tournament? I think you got to give yourself 9 to give yourself the most realistic chance. You might be able to backdoor your way in with 8. I wouldn't bank on that though. But if you're the Saints, you're playing. You're on a 2-game win streak. You've got to learn from the prior experiences this year and make sure you are as dialed in as you've been the last 2 weeks to get that 3rd win in a row and hopefully build to the 4th and maybe even the 5th win as they close out the season. Yeah, of course they can. I mean, I'm not going to pick them to win out, but I mean, you get Tampa off a mini bye, and then you get Atlanta at home. Now, the trickiest one is this Thursday game. Again, I'm not predicting the Saints win for that, but you have some favorable conditions when you get out of that Thursday game against LA.
All right. Any final thoughts as we finish off week 15 and start heading into week 16?
Yeah, short week. A lot of things condensed. We'll be back Wednesday to preview the game, which will be obviously on Thursday. We'll see what happens. This 2023 Saints team has been an interesting group to follow. Yet here they are at 7-7. So we'll see how it goes.
Like the Saints are condensing their schedule this week. We'll be doing ours too. Wednesday, like Sean said, preview. And then Friday, of course, we will break it down as it happened the night before. So for Sean Fazende, I'm Vasilios. It's been the Fox at Overtime podcast. We'll catch you guys next time.